graduates will be followed by Joe Latoff and is it Dion Puller? Is that one?
My name is Joe Rodgewitz. I live at 21 Westchester Drive in Kissimmee. It's on a piece of Toho between Neptune Road and Elk Street. And for the last 25 years, I've enjoyed it, except now it's being choked off by plant life. Ever since they did the muck removal and created the islands and rediverted Mill Slough to not flow in its normal path, it's allowed the plant life to totally overgrow, and no one has done anything to try to help us. We only have now a path where boats can come in and out from the houses through the weeds. The other thing that has added to it was in the plant removal on the main lake. What they did is they trucked it in and dumped it alongside the Oak Street Canal, and some of that plant life vegetated into our area because we only originally had a problem with lily pads. Now we have all kinds of plant life packed in that area. And what is really a concern now is with the plant life taking over, I now have the Toho water management and things looking at pumping water out of Mill Slough, which is an Everglades feed, and helps keep that area clean and flowing to use for treating water. And my concern with that is they're going to end up reversing the water flow that comes through that bridge under Neptune Road, and it's going to just turn that area into such a stagnant pond. All that's going to be there is plant life. So basically, with 4 minutes, that's all I could say quicker. That's a brief summary, but I would really appreciate some help with the plant life, because that I could show you pictures over 25 years where that was an open area. We only had lily pads in there as a problem, and now you can't even get through there with a boat. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, this is just the beginning of the process. There will be lots of opportunities for more input. Next up is Joe Latoff, followed by Dion Puller. Joe.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live at 1320 Highland Circle, Kissimmee, right on the north march of the lake. I'd like to address one phase of the whole spraying program, and that is where plants have been sprayed, they fall to the bottom and they degrade and create nutrient-rich muck. Well, lo and behold, several companies have now developed and they raise high potency chemicals that devour muck. They devour muck, and they're available on the market. I got a 5-pound container in my garage. So if FWC could consider using that kind of product to devour the muck, then we wouldn't have as many nutrients to feed plant life, and it might have the ability to help us reduce the need to do another drawdown someday. So these enzymes are available now. The only other thing I've seen to deal with this is sterile grass carp. I've looked at several experiments where they've used sterile grass carp quite effectively, and if done well, and there's a harvesting program for the carp when they get so big, which is a lot of fun, by the way, I think that might be another part of a solution. The marsh is in a ridiculous condition now, as the previous speakers mentioned. We're working with the city of Kissimmee to try to get some mechanical removal of plant life and some digging of the navigation channel along the west side of the marsh. But that's a stretch for the city, so we're still working on that. So please look into the enzyme idea, and also there are several successful, well-controlled programs that do use grass carp. Thank you for the chance to speak.
Thank you very much. Is it
We
Dion
already
Puller?
had my 3 minutes. Already had it.
You already had it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Wilson, Scott Wilson, will be followed by Justin Harvey and Bill George.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pastor Scott Wilson, and I wasn't going to get up and say anything tonight, but I guess this is not in my nature. I first fished Lake Kissimmee in 1966. I've been the owner of a generational weekend home at Camp Max since the 1980s, and after spending 10 of the last 15 days on every lake in the entire lower Kissimmee Basin, I can say this without any reserve. It is in worse shape than I have ever seen. There are thousands and thousands of acres of natural vegetation that are now gone. I've witnessed spray boats for decades. Prior to turnover to private contractors, the spray was truly target specific. It left habitat, even though I didn't really care for it. They left plenty of habitat and everything seemed to be fine. But what I witnessed and what we documented this fall went exponentially further than anything I've ever seen. The water in Lake Kissimmee in the lower basin was drawn down below 48 feet. I witnessed this year, twice the poison go into half the total water volume. The fishing on the lower Kissimmee Basin is tougher than I've ever seen, both bass and specs, and I'm sure you'll get many that will confirm that. There's near zero submerged aquatic vegetation anywhere on the lower Kissimmee Basin. What's left is not healthy. The way I tell that is I pull up in it, I grab me a handful, and I shake it out on my gun. And if it's got creepy crawlies and snails and that kind of stuff, I know it's healthy. I know I'm going to fish there and catch fish there. 10 days ago, I went up into North Cove for the first time, and I almost cried. What this has resulted in the decrease of the natural habitat is this concentrated the many additional boats that are now on the Kissimmee Basin via the RV park and a lot of people coming down here. But I went up there and there were 20 boats fishing on 2 to 3 acres of what was left. Just cut it to absolute pieces. I mean, it just got destroyed. Figures, figures that I have received from FWC on mechanical harvesting are highly exaggerated. And in reality, in the proposals that I have received, it's about half. The removal of plants, removing legacy nutrients, in my opinion, is Florida's only answer. I'm here also to represent Alan Stewart, who could not be here tonight. He has presented this to you guys, and I would like to provide all of you guys a copy. His ideas are groundbreaking. He has discovered that there is money already allocated through South Florida Water Management for phosphorus removal in the SABs. If some of that phosphorus removal money could be tapped into, that could completely offset the cost of mechanical harvesting. And please understand, we all realize that there is going to be some level of chemical maintenance that's required. I heard somebody here mention Black Death, the red tide on both coasts. Well, you guys also need to understand there's something in Okeechobee water that we're not being told about. This happened before 1988. I'm one of the few people still alive that witnessed it. They ran Okeechobee water after the 87 algal bloom down to Flamingo and dumped it into Florida Bay. We had 600 crawfish traps within 8 miles of that release. That water, that black water that came out, there was no red tide to feed. That black water, just like this year, killed everything that it touched, and there's still hundreds of square miles in the southeast, in southern Everglades, and in Florida Bay that in my lifetime will never see recover again. I feel like that the only answer is that we have to address mechanical harvesting, especially when it comes to hydrilla. To manage to hydrilla, to allow a 30% SAB, and these lakes will clean themselves. I know I got 2 seconds left. I'd like to ask one question, if I can, of the FWC.
Go ahead.
Was Florida, especially the lower Kissimmee Basin this fall, were we testing grounds for a new chemical called Procel?
I think if you'd like to cover that in your final comments, ma'am. No, that. So thank you very much, Pastor Wilson. We've got your question, and wait till the end. We'll have an answer. Next up is Justin Harvey, followed by Bill. Justin? Be with you.
you all so much for having me today. My name is Justin Harvey. I am from Orlando, Florida, born and raised, and I consider this greater Orlando area all of my home. I'm very concerned about our environment. I'm very concerned about what we are doing here, and I just want to bring up some points about glyphosate and Roundup. As many of you know, it's the most heavily used agricultural chemical in the world. It's used on parks, schools, public places, obviously around our lakes. It is everywhere. 650 million tons have been sprayed since 2013 alone. I don't think any of us could fathom 650 million tons. It's found in rain samples, water samples, air samples, breast milk, blood, urine. It's literally in everything. We have blanketed the earth in it. And this is a major problem. Why? Because just recently in 2015, like another gentleman said, the World Health Organization has classified it as a probable carcinogen. Studies show that it is also an endocrine disruptor. Dwayne Johnson, the groundskeeper, was not only awarded $250 million when a jury found that Roundup and active ingredient glyphosate caused his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but not only that, it came out that Monsanto, the maker of this product, was colluding with the EPA for years about this to hide the toxicity. This came out in leaked emails and Freedom of Information Act requests, and they were also ghostwriting articles. So this is very troublesome. There is, we talk about science, and I've heard people bring up science here, and I would just want to caution everyone, we shouldn't just blindly believe science. We shouldn't just blindly believe a government agency. We should question those agencies, question that science. And when we have a company that's been caught red-handed in bed with the EPA, hiding the toxicity of this product for decades, we should really look into when they say it is safe for us to use. We're dealing with powerful interests here. There are 10,000 lawsuits and counting there now. The floodgates have been opened. Just today, a woman is filing a lawsuit against Lowe's and Home Depot, and also the maker of the product, Monsanto, which is now owned by Bayer. And she's down in South Florida, and she is suing them because she claims her and her family has been getting sick from overexposure to glyphosate. So this is also a big problem on our bees, our butterflies, our frogs, and we need to just follow suit with, I think, the rest of Florida and the rest of the world with what's happening right now. Cities and counties are starting to ban this. It's been banned in 27 countries, 74 towns and cities. California has decided to list it and label it as a carcinogen, cancer-causing. Hallandale Beach just last month passed a resolution to ban it. North Miami, Miami Beach, Stuart, Florida, all passed resolutions. And I think that we should follow suit around here locally and discontinue the use of it. So basically, I'm asking you here today, please, let's take the precautionary principle. Let's discontinue the use of this glyphosate as much as we can and protect our children, our community, our pets, our wildlife from being exposed to this toxic substance. If you would like any resources or solutions, I know I don't have all the answers how to fix this like most of us have set up here, but I know this product is very dangerous. I've been very active and vocal about it for 6 years now. I've met very few people that have been in favor of it, and one was a geneticist from the University of Florida. He looked me in the face and an entire room of people, and he said, this stuff is safe to drink. He said this stuff is completely safe. A year later, leaked emails, he was being paid by Monsanto to travel the country and pay tens of thousands of dollars to, quote, say whatever they wanted. So, again, we must question science. These people have the ability to be corrupted, and I just hope that we can all learn more about this and discontinue the use of this product. Thank you very much for your time, and again, if you would like any of those studies or the resources, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin. I'm sure Mr. Phillips will have some response in his final comments about the Roundup issue. Bill George.
All right, Bill George. Most of you have never seen me up here, but I'm not real smart when it comes to all these chemicals and everything else, but I'm a fairly simple man, and it's a solution to a symptom, not the solution to the problem. The problem, you kill it and it's just the food for the next go-round. We have to use every opportunity to remove or reduce the nutrients that are going into our systems. keeping waterways open, great, we need to do it. But just spraying and just putting it back so it could feed the next go-round that we didn't kill in the first go-round ain't real good. And when we spray and do different things, if we were trying to remove tegos or pythons and we killed panthers and deer and tortoises in the process, what's acceptable by kill? If we saw it in a panther or a deer, we'd be really outraged, but people don't see if there's by kill. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people who see it, but we're not as offended if the lily pads disappear or whatever the other native Kissimmee grasses disappear. We're not as offended as a state, and we should be very concerned of that. So we need to turn around and do whatever we need to do to reduce the amount of other stuff disappearing in the process. I think any opportunity for mechanical removal should be considered because it actually reduces what is left. Okay? You turn around and tell your 15-year-old kid he has to clean the room and you walk in 30 minutes later and it's all gone. No, it's not. It's under the bed, it's in the closet, it's all still there. He didn't make it disappear. It's just not where you can see it, and that's what we do when we spray, is we put it where we can't see it. Okay? Obviously addressing whatever is putting the nutrients in there, whether it's being fertilizers from golf courses or whatever. I think the state, recently in Hillsborough County, they passed taxes on making them the highest tax thing. People are willing to pay a little bit to clean it, and I think, you know, some people are afraid of what mechanical might cost, but I think if people are given options, you might be surprised what those people might be willing to pony up to. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sorry I dropped the ball again. The next speaker is Ned Sheerhorn, be followed by Travis Thompson and Terry Seagraves. We're doing okay on our time. We're a little over half our speakers and a little over half our time. So I think we'll give everybody an opportunity to speak. Mr. Sheerhorn.
My name is Ned Sheerhorn. I live in Titusville, Florida. I'm with the Florida Fly Rodders Club. And the lakes, there's two lakes I'm concerned with in that area, and that's South Lake and Fox Lake. A little background, I lived in the area for 23 years, and initially I enjoyed a lot of recreation in particularly Fox Lake with access to South Lake. And I'm a fly fisherman. I'm a small boat enthusiast. I have a 15-foot John boat, and I'm also a kayaker. So I enjoyed these two lakes. And I don't know exactly when it started, but access to the larger lake, South Lake, is public access now, is through Fox Lake and a small canal that connects to South Lake. And the whole south end of South Lake has been taken over by hyacinths. There's no public access to South Lake anymore. It's the west side of the lake has some residential canals and things like that. And every year they get sprayed to treat the hyacinths so the homeowners have access to the north part of the lake, and it clears up their canals so that they can take their boats out. Okay? Me, a kayaker and small boat enthusiast that doesn't have public access to South Lake, I can't access it anymore because it's clogged up with these hyacinths. And I have, the question I have is there a particular acreage that a lake has to have before it's treated or the invasive species is removed? in this particular case, hyacinths. You know, they extend as far as I can see from my kayak and my small boat looking out across the lake. There's no access from Fox Lake into South Lake anymore. The only people that can enjoy it are the private homeowners on the residential canals that get their weeds treated, okay? So I would ask, is there a particular size limit that a lake has to be before it can be treated?
Okay, I think we can get you an answer to that, can't we, Matt?
If not, you know, can somebody look at South Lake?
Here's your answer.
Yeah, I think we can look at it. I believe South Lake's in the program. We're talking South Lake right off the St. Johns River.
It's not attached to the river.
Not attached,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
it's on the west, or the east side of the river.
Yeah, it should be in the program, should be.
I know they drew down Fox Lake and removed a lot of muck, you know, so it does have the attention of somebody.
Okay, so I think we have the answer. That lake is being treated, apparently not in a way that helps you. So I think staff have noted that. So thank you very much.
We need public access to South Lake.
Will do. Thank you. Travis? Travis Thompson?